I'm here now with Grant Van Hemmer, who's an application development engineer for the Water Wastewater Competency Center. And Grant, can you tell us a little bit about the EcoStruxure solution that you're showcasing?
Yes, I sure can. The EcoStruxure is really a concept. It's not a product. You can't order one and have one delivered. But what it is, it's more of a philosophy of where we want to take the future, where we want to actually take different types of communication protocols across various markets, from power to automation to security, even data centers, buildings. All of those traditionally have been standalone systems with standalone software, with standalone computers, standalone screens. But we're now seeing that the real possibility of bringing these together creates all kinds of synergies for energy management. And what is true is if you want to manage energy, you can't do it unless you can monitor it. And so you truly need to have all types of process looked at, your power monitoring, the whole ball of wax of everything that's within a facility. Within a traditional water wastewater facility, you might have cameras on its own computer that may be off in the main operator's room. You may have the process SCADA that's where most of the operators can get to. You may have a security system where once again that main terminal is in the main operator's office. Well, at 3 o'clock in the morning on some Sunday, that main operator's not here. So nobody can look at those computer screens for cameras. Nobody can look to see who's actually asking for access into the facility. And then you have some other things that we can add in. So what we have here is an integrated EcoStruxure demo that I would like to demonstrate for everybody. The first thing that we have here is a couple of different SCADA systems. The one over here on this screen is actually clear SCADA, and what we have it showing is the power monitoring for each individual building. Then the next screen over is our Visio SciTech, and the way that we have this screen set up right now is on a main wastewater treatment plant, and you can see as we can scroll over that there's different buildings that we can phase into. So for instance, if we come into aeration plant number 2, we've got some simulated data here in which we're introducing a certain flow amount at a certain concentration into the aeration basins. And this is set up so that it is running on a traditional dissolved oxygen scheme where dissolved oxygen is being used to, in this case, modulate and control mechanical aerators. Of course, it can be used for diffusers and blowers and that type of thing. But if you come into our energy management graphs, you will notice down in the lower right-hand corner that we are tracking kilowatt hours per kilogram of BOD. So it's giving you a good correlation of how much energy you're actually using to treat and to eliminate and to reduce that kilogram of BOD. And what I want to show you on this graph is that you got a lot of peaks and spikes and valleys and curves and typically an oscillating trend. But if we come over onto this other area, which is aeration plant number 1, we are using an internal algorithm that is much more enhanced for process control. And by using this algorithm, if you come in once again to the screens, you will see that our BOD per kilogram is actually, our kilowatt hour per kilogram BOD is actually being reduced quite a bit, and it's leveling out and you're getting much tighter control. This has a very definite energy response to it. If we come over to this other screen, you can see once again we have a power architecture, and this itself is tied in with a camera, so if you get an alarm, maybe a breaker is tripped, you can come in and you can look and see the maintenance guy actually appear and walk over to the motor, and he can check it. So if it's in your plant, it's one thing, but a lot of facilities have remote pump stations, and traditionally one person will go out there to look to make things are operating correctly. A remote camera will allow you to monitor that person to make sure that he is actually working in a very safe manner. One of the other things that we can do is we have the ability to do access control. So for instance, a person comes up and puts their badge onto the unit, and as you see here, we have a access control request from one of the employees, and the live camera actually pops up, and you can see what is actually going on at the door, and you can decide to approve or deny the person, allow them in. So this is how we are bringing together the power technologies, the process technologies, and even our building management or our security technologies into one system. So what we have here is a hydraulic modeling software, and we can move backwards and forwards through time, and you can see exactly how the pressure gradients are actually divided up within the system itself. You can come in and make a decision to close a pipe, and now you can actually come in and say, let's see what happens to the system over time so I can determine when would be the best time to bring a to bring the repair guys out into the system to make the adjustments. So right now we are waiting for this to simulate. And now that it's done simulating, we can go into the pressure map, and you can see right now that we have a dangerously low pressure. So now would not be a good time to shut off that pipe. But I can come and I can move forward in time, and we can watch the pressure change, and I'm going to decide that, okay, I don't mind a low pressure, but it can't be critically low. So Monday at about 9:30 p.m. would be a good time to start repair, and then I can continue through the night. And this helps me to determine that I've got to be back up line by no later than Tuesday at 5:30 in the morning. And so you can see how this works. One of the other things that I can do with this is I can look at residual chlorine levels. I can also look at water age. And I even can come in with the capability of adding in a trace chemical somewhere along the line and push this into the future again and see how this contaminant or trace chemical actually penetrates in through the system. Finally, on the last screen over here, the last thing we're looking at is the Resource Advisor. And what this actually does is this allows you to combine data from multiple sources. So maybe a main water treatment plant and all of your pump stations together. And you can actually look and compare your energy, your maybe natural gas, any type of criteria you want to, and see what your actual comparison spend is. So maybe you've got 2 wastewater plants within your utility. You can look at both of those. Or maybe you've got 50 different triplex pump station. Each pump station has 320 horsepower motors, excuse me. You can actually go in and look at all of those pump stations at one time and make energy comparisons. This is the power of EcoStruxure, and what it brings to you is we utilize and go forward to bridging the gap between power, automation, security, building management, and even data centers or the SCADA servers that you've got in your facility. Thank you very much.